There is perhaps no other scene in our Western consciousness that is more imbued with anger and fury than that of the Dies Irae, the Day of Judgment from the Book of Revelation. Verdi's Dies Irae is probably recognisable to so many of us at home. It's been featured all over popular culture, probably due to its harrowing evocation about the end of the world as we know it, its rage and its wrath personified. Verdi was undoubtedly the most famous composer in Italy, maybe even in the whole world in his time. And he first had the idea to write a Requiem, a musical setting of the Catholic Mass for the Dead, in 1868 after the death of another great Italian opera composer, Rossini. Rossini was that prolific opera composer and he composed hits like The Barber of Seville. And after Rossini's death, Verdi gamely suggested that a bunch of eminent Italian composers get together and each one take just a section of the Requiem Mass to set to music. So give one bloke the Lamb of God, another the Gloria, etc., etc. It all sounded good on paper, but what's that old Italian joke about how many composers does it take to change a light bulb? In any case, after that abortive attempt to write a Requiem, Verdi was again inspired to set this Mass for the Dead, and thus joined other composers from the Pantheon who'd written amazing Requiems: Mozart, Berlioz, Brahms. Alessandro Manzoni was a writer and a humanist, he was Italian, who Verdi revered greatly, and so when Manzoni died, Verdi resolved to write a Requiem in his honour. Manzoni himself was a leading light in the Risorgimento, or the Resurgence movement in Italy of the 19th century, and this was the movement that fought to unify all the separate states on the Italian peninsula into the one singular Italian nation that we all know and love today. Manzoni's I Promessi Sposi, The Betrothed, is a novel widely studied in Italy today, and it's a thinly veiled swipe at Austro-Hungarian dominance and one of the first instances of a standardized Italian language. Verdi loved Manzoni, and he mourned his death so much that the inspiration just poured from his pen as he put to paper what had been referred to as an opera in church vestments. It's a dramatic work, and it's one of the most performed works for choir and orchestra in the world today. It's in several sections, of course, reflecting the different parts of the Latin Mass, but we'll focus just on the Dies Irae. 4 blood-curdling cries resound from the whole huge orchestra, with another notable solo on every other beat, and that's by the bass drum. Now, I've always wanted to take this epic bass drum solo, and I hope that one day I can. And this is all before the choir comes in screaming Dies Irae, the Day of Wrath, over buzzsaw like brass and rapid passages for violins that seem to evoke demons taking over the earth. We can feel the fury of the Day of Judgment washing over in great waves of choral and orchestral sound. It's anger in music incarnate.